All right, you guys, listen, we have a first-time guest, Joe Mooney from Homesteadonomics YouTube channel on the show right now to talk about everything that goes around with the homesteading mindset, self-reliance, home security, firearms, animal husbandry, firefighting skills, practical understanding of the common folk that we can use, right? Joe demonstrates his handyman skills, tools, and his overall perspective on life over on the Homesteadonomics channel on YouTube. Go check it out. I put the link right there down in the show. And Joe, it's very difficult to say Homesteadonomics unless you slow it down and think about what you're saying, brother. What's going on?
Yeah, well, hey, can you guys hear me good?
Oh, yeah. Sound good. Everything looks good. It looks great. Yep.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here. Like I told you earlier, this is one of my favorite podcasts. I don't often watch you guys live stream, but I'm one of these people. I like to learn while I'm working on stuff, and I hardly ever listen to music anymore. I'd rather listen to voices like yours talk about things that matter. As saying Homesteadonomics. Obviously, I've said it a lot over the years, and it's really just the combination of I said, you know what, I'm into homesteading, and I like I liked the suffix of economics, so I wanted to combine them, and I think one of my original taglines was studies in self-reliant living. Obviously, that didn't last very long because I don't have it on the logo anymore, but essentially that's kind of what I was aiming towards. But it was obviously one of those names that was easy to get a handle for because nobody would pick it.
Yeah, no, it was smart to do that. Outcast, did you have any trouble saying Homesteadonomics?
Homesteadonomics. No, I get it. I like it. It's got a ring to it.
It's unique. Yeah, it's unique, and it's going to stick out wherever it's at, and brings those two paths, if you will, together. So, yeah, Joe, thank you so much. And I'm the same way with you. It's like I don't listen to music anymore. Really, when I'm driving around and doing stuff and working, I'd rather be listening to something that's going to help me. Every now and then, music does help you if you want to put into a certain mood, a certain trance. And you allow that music to do that to you, it happens. Why do you think it happens? It's real. But for the most part, I'm listening to other podcasts. I listen to this one again, make sure the audio and everything sounds right. But if I'm spending the time working on tools and equipment and I have the chance to listen to something that's going to help me develop even further, that's what I'm doing first. Maybe music will come last, but I don't hate the music. I just choose to listen to things that might help me down the road. So I feel the same way, Joe.
Yeah, I think with the music thing, I'll just I listen to music with a much more discerning ear than I used to.
Yeah.
And I used to really didn't even think about like you guys have talked about it a lot. Like broadcast and the spells that we can literally cast upon ourselves. And then, music with, just some of these songs that are so good, like I remember in high school listening to AC/DC and just some of those like great songs that if I heard it right now, I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds so good. But you got to start thinking about, is there something else going on in this song? And there's been quite a few songs I've listened to and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I never really listened to the words. Yeah. And then, as an adult with maybe a little bit more of a discerning ear, you're thinking, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's you realize when you get older, some songs aren't as blatant as the ones that we thought. What really crushed me when I figured it out was Hotel California, because it's such a beautiful sounding song, right? It's a beautiful sounding song. The harmonies, the melodies, the instrument playing. I mean, it's just complete masterpiece. And then you deep dive into those lyrics and where they came from and what they relate to. It's like, oh, that crushed me. I still love that song, but now that I know the lyrics, it's a little different for me now. It's wild. I'm sure it's for everybody that way. Outcast, what do you got?
I would agree.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like I don't know if it's the time period we're in or where we're at spiritually or both, but I can't help but think that there's in the revelation period where there's a revealing going on constantly, and now the scales are lifted and we're seeing things we couldn't before. I cannot watch a single movie, probably going back to the 1940s, that doesn't have a clue in it about what's going on.
Yeah.
And music, mainstream music, is the same way. It is permeated through everything, the occult, and what they're doing now is just an obvious take on it, because maybe they have to make it more obvious for this generation of kids, but it was all slipped in when we were growing up. It's remarkable. And I'll be listening to something like, oh yeah, I forgot how good this song is. And then I just go, but what does my discernment say? And my discernment says, turn it off. I just can't. You guys used to see how many records I've got in my basement.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I still am not getting rid of them yet, but I'm just like, man, I don't know if I want to go back. I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forward with God. I don't want to, man, it's crazy. Hey, well, we can move on that subject, but hey, Joe, I just got to tell you, that is one tidy, awesome looking workshop you got behind you. That place, that looks amazing.
Well, I'll tell you, it is 100% video ready, because when I'm working on projects in here, there is so much trash. It looked like a tornado went through, but it's a shipping container. So it's 8 foot wide, 21 feet long. You could probably guess why I made it 21 feet. Anyway, 777. This was originally a 40-foot long container that I got from my neighbor, and I wanted to make a shop. So I cut it in half. I converted the end like a little 10-footer for a friend of mine to help pay for what I spent to buy it from my neighbor. So I gave him a little 10-foot section. And then there's a little, well, I guess it was about a 9-foot section. And then the little bastard section that was, I used the roof from it to make the back wall of the container I sold to the other guy.
Wow.
I used that little middle section. I made a little playhouse for my daughter that she doesn't use it anymore. She's getting, a little bit too old and cool for the swing sets and stuff. But actually, she's not. She's a very humble kid. But she's just much more into horses and those kind of things now. Yeah, I got pull-up bars and swings and all that kind of stuff that are connected to that one. But yeah, so this is 8 foot long. I opened the indoors, and yesterday or whenever I told Jesse, I take a leaf blower and I just blow all the sawdust out and everything, and makes it pretty easy. So everything you see here is not what it looks like most of the time.
Yeah. Well, it's looking great right now.
Yeah. It looks like a cool place to work on stuff.
Well, Outcast, I would say he's very handy, right? I mean, look, think about what he just said there. You know, while we have the opportunity, I'm going to go right now and go over to your YouTube channel. You guys want to check him out at Homesteadonomics YouTube right there, and look at all these videos. He's got 589,000 subscribers, Outcast. That's a lot. Wow. We're sitting at about 377 right now. So we're catching up, Joe. That's what I'm saying. So
I want you guys to.
Yeah, look at that. That's probably that little cutoff section that you're talking about right there, right in the middle of the screen, that hay barn one. Mini hay barn.
No, that one.
That's something different. All right.
Yeah, that's a little tack barn. I built that from the ground up. But actually, interesting story with that is I was on Facebook Marketplace looking, which I can't stand Facebook, but I do like the Marketplace. Yeah. And this custom home builder, they were selling a whole bunch of steel roofing from one of their builds. It was all stacked up in just little pieces, anywhere from 20 feet long down to like 3 foot long. Yeah. So I got all that. I got a ton of that roofing for $200, and I decided to make that little tack barn for my daughter's saddles and all that stuff. And then I found that cool looking door where you see all those little those lights windows in it, the little horizontal things.
Yeah, that's a cool little structure. That's really cool looking.
Yeah, it does its purpose, and ran electric out to it, and she's got her and her friends can go in there and talk about horsey stuff and whatever else.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Awesome. I'm looking at your most popular videos right here. Here's one, a rainwater harvesting project, how to. 7.5 million views on that one, Outcast.
Wow.
Yeah, here's how to build a DIY travel trailer. 4.5 or 4.6 million. Here's your rainwater harvesting Q&A. Cost. Is it illegal? Yeah, that's a good one too. Look at that. Hey, there's my competition. Chicken coop tour. One. Which one?
So that rainwater harvesting one, there was a period where I had about 10 videos people said I needed to be a little bit more lively. So I essentially yell at the camera the entire time, but obviously it took off. But anytime somebody references that, I'm just like, it's so cringeworthy, but you live and you learn.
Hey, that's an 8-year-old video right there. Yeah, I've got a bunch of old videos too that I just don't want anybody to see, but they're seeing them. Listen, we are different people than we were a few years ago, aren't we? Look, here is a chicken coop tour, and that goes direct in competition with what I got going on over here. Outcast is what I'm saying. So, awesome, Joe. This is great, man. I'm glad you're out here displaying and demonstrating everything because we're the same type of guys. We like to get dirty with our hands and make things and build things. Look at Outcast over there. He does a bunch of leather work. He sharpens steel. He's into all kinds of stuff too, just like the rest of us. So if things go bad, I feel a little bit better that we can handle ourselves for a little bit longer than most fellers out there.
Well, speaking of Outcast, since obviously we're all kind of into this, working with our hands, which I think that's what the Lord created us to do stuff, and that's one of the things we can, show, our gifts. Not, and I don't say that in a way like I have anything special, because I always tell people like anything I do, I'm just literally an average Joe, and I was ironically named Joe, but it's people can do any of the stuff that we do if they just put their mind to it. But speaking of Outcast, you're talking about, I do leather working as well. But that knife right there. So all those handles for the axes I made, that one's out of pallets. I laminated a bunch of pallet wood together. That one's mesquite. Wow. And then that knife that's on the wall there, that was made out of a cold cut saw blade. So I basically just used my angle grinder and I got a template and I cut it out. And where the edge is where the tempered edge of the saw blade was. So I basically sprayed it with water, made little lines, cut. I used some of the same mesquite wood that I used on that middle axe for the handles. It's
very cool.
It's just, I love doing that kind of stuff.
Do you have leather sheaths for your axes and for your knives?
Not for the axes, but I do. I won't leave the thing, but I got a leather sheath in one of the drawers back there that fits that knife. And anyway, so I like doing leather work. I've made some ammo holders, and I think I got a video on a really old video making an ammo carrier, like a little belt sheath for 30-06 bullets.
Oh, nice.
Joe, I want to say this too. You were very humble, and you said that you're not doing anything special. I'm not particularly courageous when it comes to building things, but I'm telling you, just the little glimpse of seeing you do things is inspirational. So just know that everything, it's not, I mean, you're going to give people step by step how to do it, which is great on the video, but even just seeing it in the process of being made makes people like me think, yeah, I think I could do that, but I have to see it first. I wasn't raised watching people build stuff like houses and chicken coops or whatever. So just rest assured that you are doing a great service by sharing your knowledge, because there's people like me out here that just need a little nudge, and that's what you're doing. I think that's really cool.
Well, yeah, one of the things, there's like YouTube is a blessing and a curse, because obviously the last several years with all the censorship and, they don't want you saying certain things, but other things you can say pretty much anything. But one of the things that's been really good is that my house where we built, where I currently have my house, we did the owner builder thing. So I technically built my house, although I didn't hammer every board together. I hired a framing contractor, hired the concrete. I did most of the trim, hanging cabinets. My family, my wife's uncle helped with the electrical. I wired all the outlets and finished plumbing and stuff like that. But a lot of that stuff, like one of the first videos I remember looking at is how to hang doors. And it was some old, just a salty old trim carpenter was showing an easy way to hang doors. I didn't know how to do that. And growing up, even though I had a dad and a grandfather and my father-in-law, all super handy people, I don't remember ever hanging a door with any of them. So I watched YouTube. So if somebody didn't grow up with that, you can, watch YouTube, watch Rumble. And you can see somebody showing their, now you also find about 1,000 ways how to not do it as well.
Yeah.
Not all the information is great, but you can at least get an idea. And I do think these video platforms are a true blessing for people wanting to know certain things, although obviously they can, they've got their detractions too.
Yeah, they do. It's so like I was saying earlier when you told us that when you have the government money behind you, you can create the best, finest things in the world, like these big platforms do. Unfortunately,
Yeah, look at Amazon.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, where'd all that money come from? It's all the big major corporations like that. Starve out the little competition and take the foothold. But it's like you said, this YouTube thing it's a blessing in disguise, man. We can do so much good on it, but yet they can completely control what we say, or if they don't like what we say, just gone. They can throttle us. They can do everything if we don't play within their rules, they got us. So it's best, like you said, Rumble and all these things, be fanned out on everything. It's the same thing with tools. You know what I mean? I don't have just one file. I have a whole drawer of files. If one goes bad, I'm picking up the other one. Same thing with it applies with screwdrivers and everything else, just like these platforms. Same thing. You got to be handy. You got to be quick. And just keep moving forward. Because listen, sometimes these things just get you bogged down and make you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and it's not, right? So I don't know where I was going with that, Joe. I just had to throw it in there. But being handy, man, I love it. It's like seeing your shop so clean and everything makes me envious, because my shop is a mess over there. It's crazy.
Well, 3 days ago, it looked like a hurricane went off in there. So don't.
Yeah.
This is just all for, so I can, at least have a little bit of pride in how it looks for now. But, I'm glad you mentioned the chicken coop thing, because, like the title of the episode being on kind of self-reliant mindset, and I've said this multiple times, and I even have one of my more recent, probably about a year and a half ago, I did a thing on how chickens essentially are the gateway drug to self-reliance.
Yeah.
And I tell people, if you could pick one thing, because in and of itself is the fact that the action of me keeping chickens going to make me more self-reliant? No, because any person knows that it's about at best it's a wash with the price of feed and the eggs you get, but you know what you're getting with those eggs. You know what kind of care they were in. For instance, when we have our monsoon season, obviously we have beautiful warm temperatures. Everything grows like a jungle down here for about 2 months a year. And I feed very little, so those chickens are getting all grasshoppers and forage and different things like that. But the process of building a chicken coop and keeping chickens is so multifaceted. Yep. And the reason I always like to talk about it is because it's something within the realm of most people being able to grasp. So you showed one of my videos, which was a tour of my chicken coop. That one's an old video, but I have a better series over the past 3 or 4 years that's probably about 8 parts long. And I go through every stage of building the coop. So the frame, because the one I currently have is a lot better than that one, although it looks almost identical. But essentially, you're starting out and you are, say a person's never built anything in their life. Well, if you're building a chicken coop, you're building something that's, 4x4, 4x8, something that is manageable. Most people can work with materials of that size and manner. And even if you've never used a tool before, you can go to Home Depot. They'll rip you the plywood in half at least once, one way. So most people can get those at home. If you look at, if you look, it's not going to be in, it's going to be, that one, part 3, Coop Run. If you go to the part 1 of that, but essentially you are going to get a miniature primer on the same skills that you would use to build a house, because you're going to look at your foundation. Obviously in my chicken coop, because I live in a warm weather environment, I have it up on stilts for a couple of reasons. 1, to keep rodents out, but 2, I want my chickens to be able to get under the house where they have, shade and they have wind and different stuff like that. So I'm going to learn how to site prep a foundation. Maybe if you're somewhere else, you might pour a little concrete slab, 4x4, 4x8. That is within the realm of most people being able to do. And then you go from there. You're going to go into framing. Obviously, it's most chicken coops are going to be, maybe it's 5 foot tall. Again, it's materials that most people can handle. And it's not going to be like you're tilting up 10-foot walls by 50 feet long, which is pretty daunting for a lot of folks. But just with basic tools, impact driver, nail gun, a drill, a circular saw, anybody can build one of these coops. And the process, like I said, is the exact same as almost any home is built in 2026. You're going to build your walls, you're going to tilt them up. And then you're going to put sheathing. And then, maybe for guys like you, you're going to put some insulation in there just to make it where it's cold weather resistant. But all those techniques is the exact same techniques that somebody would use to build a house. And then you may choose to say, you know what, I want a light bulb in there. I want to extend the laying time. Maybe I'm going to go down to Harbor Freight. I'm not saying their solar panels are the best or anything, but you're going to learn. I kind of jumped ahead. Back with the framing, you're going to learn how to dry in that framing that you made, same as you would with a house. How am I going to overlap the shingles? Obviously, you start low and you overlap them where you're going up to the ridge line, and you put a ridge cap. Or if you're using metal roofing, maybe you're going to put an underlayment on the roofing. How are you going to seal the windows? So all these are little things, and like the windows in my coop, I think they're like 8x12. But again, you're not dealing with a 3-foot by 4-foot window that you can find in a residential home, but it's all stuff that it's on a micro scale, the same skills that you would use to maybe build a garden fence or whatever else you want to build. That coop is going to require that you have all these skills. And like I said, once you get the frame up, then you're going to say, you know what, I want a door on this thing. Well, how do you hang a door? Well, you can look on YouTube, you can look on Rumble, you can find people hanging doors. And then you might want that light bulb in there to extend the laying time or to make going to check them out a little easier. Well, guess what? That's your first primer on how to set up a small solar system. You can get a deep cycle marine battery, a solar panel, a little charge controller, and then a lot of times there's kits that even have the lights with it. So boom, you just learned the basics of electrical. Granted, that's going to be 12 volt, not AC, but the concepts are essentially the same. And then, like I said, for you guys in Michigan, it tends to be cold up there. So maybe you don't want it up on stilts. Maybe you want it low to the ground or potentially slightly buried. Depends on what your water situation is. But are you going to add insulation? Are you going to have any fans? For me, I have just wall vents to allow pass-through ventilation. And for our area, that's totally good. And then from there, after we've gotten electrical, well, chickens, just like us, they need water, they need food. So what I've done a lot on my channel and with my home, probably one of the more interesting things about me, I guess, is I live in the Arizona desert, and we live off of about 85% rainwater. We have no well, we have no municipal source. And if I can do it here in the desert, well, anybody can do it with some a matter of good, consistent rainfall. But what I did with my coop is I said, okay, I've got a little 4x8 foot footprint where I have roofing going down to gutters. I ran that down to PVC pipe. That PVC pipe runs over to a 55-gallon water barrel. Now, granted, I know there's freezing conditions and I don't have to deal with what you guys have to deal with, but maybe it's something you shut down for 3 months a year and just do, using the garden hose or bringing water inside. So that goes down to a 55-gallon barrel that I have raised up off the ground about 30 inches. And then from that barrel, I have it tapped down to irrigation tubing, runs down into the ground, back over to the coop to these little chicken water cups. And I like them because I read that they mimicked a flower, or like what a chicken would get after a rainfall, or, a clump of leaves where rain would naturally kind of go inside. Yeah, you're seeing it there. At this point, this is my old version. My new version has much nicer gutters. and I've got a hardware cloth up there. But anyway, so it runs back down into the ground and up into those little watering cups. And that 55 gallons of water can feed my chickens for at least 2 months. And and that's just off of being fully topped off. But assuming we get additional rainfalls, well, if I died, my chickens could probably have water for 4, 5, 6 months. It maybe in perpetuity until it clogged up with algae or something like that. But it just gives you an idea of, look, I'm still working on the chicken coop, and I have learned how to build things. I've learned redundancy, a system that works when I'm not there. And I've learned basically how to care for the animals and how to use a resource again. So this is all just, obviously I'm using a garden hose in this little clip, but using a resource that comes from the Lord, from the sky. And again, if my municipal water source, which I don't have one, but if it was somebody in town, or maybe you're on a well, if something happened, well, that is going to refill itself. Anyway, I went on a long diatribe there, so I'll take a breath and let you guys chime in. If you want to see more updated, I've got a better version of all this. All this that you're seeing on the screen is all my 1.0 version.
Yeah.
So just for folks watching.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button there, and I took us back to the main scene. But all this stuff that you're doing, for me, it's very familiar because I've done pretty much the same kind of stuff here. Outcast, well, Michigan weather, obviously we can't do the exact same thing because we freeze here like we have this year. But Outcast, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? You've been in my house. You've seen all this stuff.
No, yeah, it's just to see you do it from the ground up is, like I said before, I'm not trying to be redundant, but it's just it's inspiring, and it makes you think that you can, that other, I can do it. Where before sometimes I can look at the end result and I'm like, well, that's daunting. I don't know how to even begin. But oh my gosh, those cups are cool. And also, Music Lover had a question. It was funny because I had the same question. I'm a DeWalt tool guy. You had a lot of Ryobi tools. It looked like. Is that a conscious decision, or was that just something you kind of fell into, like I did with DeWalt?
So I'll tell you, when my wife and I got married, and give you a little bit of backstory. She's my high school sweetheart and my first real official girlfriend ever. Other than, like the check yes or no when you're in third grade, and then you avoid the girl like the plague, like, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? Yeah. Okay. I need to get away from you. But yeah, so when we got married, my in-laws gave me like one of those big Ryobi combo kits. So it was just because I already had the Ryobi batteries. So, it's like, like any battery operated tools, once you get on the platform, it's kind of hard to go away.
Yeah.
But I do. And so like full disclosure, if you watch enough of my videos, there was a time I did the Home Depot prospective program, a couple of years of doing that. And I was a Ryobi person. So a lot of the Ryobi tools I have were sent to me by them. But before that, I had been using Ryobi for probably 17 years prior to me ever receiving anything. And I tell people that, are they the best tool out there? Absolutely not. But they are a good tool for the value. And I like to, because there will be people who are I'm a Festool guy, I'm a Milwaukee guy, or, I'm like, well, I built a whole lot of stuff with Ryobi tools, including my home.
Mm-hmm.
And so they work. Now, if you had to take, a DeWalt impact drive and a Ryobi, would the DeWalt one outlast it? Maybe. But for what I do, I think I've had a drill and maybe a sander and one other thing go bad I've got easily over 100 different Ryobi tools. And I use them hard. I mean, I'm drilling a hole in something and I'm going to put my 230 pounds behind it. Yep. And it works for me. But
nice.
Like I said, it's essentially once you kind of get on a battery platform, like if you're a DeWalt guy, like it makes sense to just stick with the ones you already have batteries for.
Yeah.
Right.
They changed since they changed the game up. I remember every tool you would buy, you would have a battery come with it and a charger. Remember, that was just standard, every one. But they changed now. So now they got us in a loophole, like you said, Joe, that I'm stuck between Milwaukee and Makita now. So I've got both, and I use both every day. I'm leaning more towards Milwaukee now because I just have more of those certain tools. But I've got a whole load of Craftsman stuff too, from way back in the day. Some of my grandpa's old stuff, and some of that stuff still works. So again, redundancy in tools, man. You can't. I can't go wrong. I can't go past the knife without picking it up 15 times, and even funnels and things like that. Things like that. So. Wow, I'm just a shop. Every man needs to have a shop, and every handy woman needs to have some tools around her shop or wherever she's got to be too. Think about it. When things go down, who are you going to rely on? Nobody but you. Right. So, I mean, you can call your neighbor. I got a bunch of neighbors around here. Call me. But I have no problem helping them. If I got time, I'm going over there and I'll take my tool bag over there and let's see if we can figure it out. Now, I'm not scared. Let's try it. So that's the attitude that I've got. Yeah.
And I think that was even though it was an innocent question from Music Lover and myself, both about the why is Joe using Ryobi, I think it's a great talking point for the show, because a lot of people, if they're just getting started or they're on a budget, it sounds like what Joe's saying is bang for the buck. Ryobi is going to serve you well for the price point. And that's what, if you're on a budget, that's the way you want to go. So anybody that's listening right now, I think that's a really good talking point to consider. It's like, you can either go, so I sell, Joe, I sell eyeglass frames for a living. That's my job. I sell glasses. And you'd be surprised that there is varying qualities, but sometimes you can get more quality in a lesser price point brand or non-brand name item than the high-end brand names that you're buying the brand name. And the company knows that you're loyal to the brand, so they lessen the quality, right, to increase their profit margin, right? So I know that, and it takes some inside knowledge to know, hey, you can get more of this for less money and less investment. And that's important. I mean, because a lot of companies out there are relying on you got to look at the amount of advertising they're doing and promotions they're doing. That all comes into the cost of what you're spending for it. And if Ryobi prides itself on making something that's, a good durable thing for a great entry level price point, go for it. Why not?
They do.
Especially if you're not building skyscrapers, you're building stuff around your property. You're showing us right here that it's totally capable of doing all the basic things you need it to do. That's great.
You know what? I always talk about the right tool makes the job easier. Guess what the right tool is? It's the one you have.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't have it, go get it. Whether it's the Ryobi, the DeWalt, you like red, green, yellow, blue, but pick it. Just pick one and go. You get a system and go. But what you can't sit there and do. I remember years ago, before I even had a screw gun, and I'm trying to put this box together for my DJ equipment, right? And I got a box of screws, Phillips head, and a Phillips head screwdriver. And I start putting this thing together, trying to put 2x4s together. And about 15, 16 seconds in, I'm like, I got to go to the store because I can't put this. I had no way. I had to go. I was a young kid, 16 or whatever. I had to jump in my car and go and buy. At that time it was all cords. Every tool had a cord on it. But I went and bought myself a little screw gun because there was no way I was going to put all those screws together to put my records in. So it's the right tool makes the job easier. Wherever that is for you guys, just do it. Start it.
I'll give you another example that I think is it's another one I've mentioned in the past. Is like like with socket sets, because Ryobi doesn't really make socket sets, so so that can take the brand thing out of there. But if I was running a mechanic shop and this was my daily driver, like my father-in-law is a mechanic for their family's company, and he's got all very good tools, but he uses them all the time. He works on graders, he works on loaders. I mean, real mechanic work. And if I was doing that, I would have Snap-on and top of the line stuff.
Yeah.
But when a couple years ago, we were on my daughter's first elk hunt. It was a youth cow hunt, and I had my quad up there, and I had a little rack on the back of it, and it broke. So I needed to take the rack off, and I always take a socket set with me. I even have a place that I have a socket set that sits underneath my truck seat.
Yep.
And I went and looked at it, and it wasn't there. And I said, oh my gosh. And I must have taken it out, and I just set it in the shop when it doesn't look clean. And we went on this hunt, and I didn't have it, but I needed to take it off. So I called my wife because she was coming up, and she picked up a Harbor Freight socket set, and I took it off, and it worked. And is it the best tool? No, but it's what I could use. And now that socket set lives in our car. So I still have my socket set that I should have had in my truck at the time. But now I got an extra socket set. It was a reasonable price. Is it the best quality? Absolutely not. But if I need to change a battery, well, as a matter of fact, I used that exact socket set to change a battery about 6 months ago in the car. Because they have all the little hold down clamps, and it had the extensions that you need.
Yeah.
And it worked. It did the job. But if I was running a mechanic shop, I probably wouldn't be using that as my daily driver. But it's what I could afford at the time, and it filled a need, a redundancy, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, and it's smart. It's smart to do it that way. Like I'm a tool guy. I've got so many different tools. Some tools will never leave my shop because they're shop tools. Then I've got a whole nother set that's in the truck, and I use them out on the job. And it's okay if I break those because I can always go back to the shop and use what I have to. But redundancy in tools, it's a big thing. I keep my daughters with their own tool bags in their vehicles. I've got an old tool set up in the house that never leaves the house. And I don't switch them all. I used to, and then I lose things. So now I just got tools everywhere, and they stay separate. Outcast, I saw your finger was up in the air, but I got
no, I'm just having a good memory. When I was a kid, I worked at a pizzeria when I was in high school, and the gal that owned the pizzeria, her mom sold Amway, and one year for Christmas she gave Amway gifts, and I got this really junky, cheap ratchet set.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and I used that thing for decades. It wasn't great, but it got the job done until I got established. I was like, all right, I'm ready to retire this set and get the one that I'm going to, get the Craftsman set that I want, but I mean, prior to that, I had that thing. It moved with me all over the place. I always had that thing, and it did come in handy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, tool, like some stuff will work, and some stuff you need to replace, but yeah, I don't know. We're on a tangent here. I'm sorry. You made me laugh here.
I'm just looking here in the chats, and Music Lover says you guys might be familiar with who Bush Radical is. Do you guys know who he is on YouTube? Bush Radical. His name is Dave Whipple. But she says Bush Radical, he's from Michigan, will frequently reference Harbor Freight as a decent place to get those one-off tools when you're trying to do something, and then you can plan and save for a better quality one down the road. That's very important, and that's a lot of times I'll do that too. Say, I don't have a certain tool, but I'm going to go try it with theirs, and if I break it, I know I'm going to go to get the exact same tool by a different brand. If I don't break it, I end up using it. What's funny about this Bush Radical she mentioned, now he's got a huge channel. He's got over 1 million, and he's got some amazing stories about him, or videos of him building cabins up north, northern Michigan, UP, and Alaska. And these things have, 25 million, 40 million views. And he was just on last week on he's got another channel called Dave Whipple, his name. Very small one, but it's about how to do, YouTube work. Anyway, I ended up on his channel last week. If you guys want to check this out, look at this. Yeah, he critiqued. So there's Dave Whipple right there on the right, and see that Jesse's Workshop, Jesse Jaymz. That's my workshop channel on YouTube. I've had that since 2009. Now there's a bunch of cringe on there because I didn't know what I was doing. This predates everything, you guys. But I've been putting stuff on there, and Joe, I showed you this earlier. But I had Dave Whipple last week. He had this YouTube titles and thumbnail masterclass, and it's to help guys like us, smaller guys who don't know what they're doing, how to write titles and thumbnails and all the goofy stuff that YouTube needs. Well, if you guys want to watch that, it's there. And he talks about my channel, not the Dangerous Info podcast, but this one here. And it's pretty good. I've been firing this one up lately too. I just put out a video last week, and I'm working on one right now for this week. So I have a good time with it. Like you said, Joe, this YouTube thing, I hate saying their name, but the platform is It's there for all of us to use, but just be careful what you say, right? Well, why is there a double-edged sword? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it used to be really a bastion of free speech, and I mean, it
Yes,
was
it
like
did.
the
Yep.
Wild West for a while,
Yeah.
and it was I guess Rumble is now. It is well, you can say it, but obviously within the last 5 6 years, there were certain things that were so coordinated that you couldn't dare question anything.
Hmm.
Whereas if you would have done that, if you would have said the exact same thing maybe 7 years prior, it wouldn't even have been a blip on anybody's radar. Like, oh, okay, raw milk, the jabs,
Yeah.
you name it. There's a whole bunch of things you can't even remotely broach. So, like during the whole, ever since
The
the
scam.
pandemic, yeah, I like to put quotation marks. You know, I talked I talked about that kind of stuff, but I did it in a way that was very vague, and obviously I was trying to cover my own tracks, because I'm more about self-reliance and working on projects, and obviously most of what I do on the video is like I work on projects that interest me, and then I will talk about, hey, look, I just built a truck camper, but maybe this gives you some ideas of something else you might want to do. And then I will also, kind of like what I alluded to with the chickens, is I'll sometimes have commentary of you can be working on a project that is unrelated to anything under the sun about anything else you might be needing, but maybe you worked on that project and you worked with a socket set, or you did something that you had to learn a little bit more than you used to know. And
Yeah.
then fast forward in the future, something happens, your car breaks down or something like that. You may have slightly more, I guess, skills or know-how to maybe get yourself out of a situation because you worked on random projects. And that's one of those, like, it's a reoccurring theme. Although I don't, it's not that I always say it exactly, but it's there if you're looking for it. And it's that kind of undertones of self-reliance. I mean, I built a little door kick, little trash can cabinet opener. Well, it could be a little project like that. You're just looking at how this, to kick something with your toe to make the trash can push out. Well, what have you learned there? I've learned basic physics, how things pivot, how I'm going to secure something like that to wood or metal or whatever other medium you're working with. And in and of itself, it doesn't really have anything to do with other than making a little trash can, foot kick opener. But you've learned stuff. Yeah, you've learned how to problem solve, and that to me is like, in regard to self reliance or anything, or like what I said with the pandemic, it makes you think. Okay, let me think outside the box. Do I have to do it a certain way, or can I think for myself and maybe come up with another way? Maybe it doesn't work out well, but in the process, I think you're building your brain and you're developing confidence that you're going to need to, I guess, stand tall when times get tough.
Yeah. Outcast, we're talking about all the self-reliant stuff and being very handy and all this. And I mentioned this to a good friend of ours who's on the show quite a bit, Fire Doug, right? Well, Joe Mooney is a fellow firefighter. Did you know that, Outcast? Did you realize?
Yeah. After you told me that, and it's funny. I mean, is it me, Jesse? But I mean, they seem like they're from the same planet. They look
Yeah,
similar to me.
I know. I know.
They talk similar. It's kind of cool. It's cool.
Does
But
he
yeah,
have
they're
my
both.
hairline?
Yeah. I think we all do at this point.
Yeah. We're all working on that hairline, buddy. But
When
yeah,
Joe says,
oh, good.
I was going to say in YouTube here, when Joe says, man, men seriously amaze me. You guys really just figure it out. Yeah, we have to. Nobody else is going to figure it out. We got to do it. That's sorry. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and Joe, I got to tell you that you have a super awesome kindness and humility that seems to come from probably being a godly man. And our brother Doug has that same vibe. I mean, Doug is he's a rock for the Lord, and he's humble, although he's really talented, and he's a confident guy that can help people out in a pinch, because he knows paramedic stuff. He knows gun safety. I mean, he's a great guy. It sounds like I think you guys would hit it off. But to me,
Yeah,
it
me
seems like
too.
if there's a fireman planet of guys that get stuff done, you and Doug are definitely from that same planet.
Well, thank you. I haven't met him, but I already like him.
Yeah,
You would.
You'd like him. Yeah, maybe we'll have to hook something up. Have a firefighters night one time or something, and talk about some firearms. Talking about firearms, should we go into like home security? You're in a good state in Arizona. There, we're in a decent state with Michigan with stuff here, although it's been under attack here in the last few years. But we're home security, man, taking care of your property, taking care, animal husbandry, taking care of the animals, and overall security and all that. There's a lot of basic questions I could probably ask. Probably be smarter to do it that way and to jump into what other types of rifling and scoping and all that. We should probably just stay basic with it. But
well,
what's your thoughts?
Do you want me to give you just a generic, my kind of generic overview from my perspective? Because I guess I'll put it from this perspective because I think it's a little bit unique. I live in an area where if you drive down to my house, you'll see signs in kilometers. So we're so close to Mexico.
Wow.
And right outside my door, I've got a shipping container project that I'm working on. And on the side of it, it has some spray paint and it says caution, don't climb on, peligro, hot. And this container was actually part of the Arizona border wall when they had that thing that you guys may have remembered where they put a bunch of shipping containers.
They stacked them all up.
The governor at the time, I think, he was a conservative, but like most politicians, he's
a rhino,
kind of a fence sitter. And, now, he allowed that to happen. And obviously I think it was more of a statement than anything, but all that to say is we're by the border. So like when I was building my house, we had illegals come through the property.
Wow.
And there's a mine directly south of my house that's gotten so big, it's almost acted like a big blocker.
Okay.
And I always tell people, like, I personally, I've probably given out more bottles of water and food to illegals, migrants, whatever, politically correct people want to call them, than any of these, people who are protesting anything. Yeah. I'm never going to withhold sustenance for somebody, especially when they're, it's in the middle of summer and they're coming to your door. But there's a very real threat of the drug trafficking. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, my neighbor, when I was building my house, he comes walking up, and I was working on my roof at the time, and I had known him from high school, and I said, "Hey, Jason, what's going on?" He said, "You'll never guess what I found in the desert." He found 2 big bales of marijuana, and he also found an AR-15 stuck in some cactus.
Nice.
And
nice.
Yeah, so just to paint that picture that it's a very real thing that people need to come to terms with. And I know there's people out there that are very anti anybody being able to defend themselves. But from the perspective of home defense, I think it behooves somebody to know the basics of firearms. Not that they have to get one or anything like that, but just for them to feel comfortable in the event that they ever did want to broach that topic of, I've heard of a lot of these people in big cities that have started to get their concealed carry licenses and get some sort of protection at home. And they were, say previously maybe on the liberal side of things. And they're at least coming to the realization that, yeah, it's probably prudent to have a way to defend oneself. And then moreover, I enjoy hunting. Recently, it's all about bow hunting for me now, but I still, go out. My daughter had an elk hunt. My wife had a hunt in December, and they hunt with rifles. And I'm trying to get them, I'm trying to talk them into hunting with bows.
Yeah.
But it's a way so it's home defense. It's a way to procure food. And God forbid we hit one of those situations where you really need to. Well, you're not gonna throw a pride flag and smother the deer to death. You're probably gonna want to use a rifle.
Yep.
And then it's also something that if you have an animal that needs to be put down, well, again, it's the most quick and painless option if you are a person if you're presented with that situation that you need to do something like that. And I'm not talking about a dog or cat, which I know most people would probably want to go to the vet or something like that, but it presents a very real potential solution for a real problem that people are faced with.
Yeah, totally. Outcast, home defense. What's your thoughts? I mean, we've done this a bunch on the show in the past. We're big on home defense and personal carry and all that stuff, but we'll keep it at home defense here for a few minutes.
Well, I was just going to say that my go-to saying, which is from the gut and from the heart, if you are not carrying, if you don't have a gun and you have not been familiarized with one, go take a class, go get your permit to carry, because being unarmed and afraid of a weapon is a double negative. To conquer that fear and learn something and to be able to protect yourself is a double positive. You go to you're taking yourself out of the fear of the unknown and putting yourself into another knowledge base that's going to empower you. There's nothing that more equalizing for a woman or even a man than a weapon. It is the levels the playing field. And at the end of the day, I can attest that once you bridge that gap of being afraid of something that you weren't raised with or not familiarized with, guns are fun for everyone. You'll get the bug and you're going to want to go to the range and shoot with your buddies. And then, like in my case, I enjoy making leather sheaths and stuff for my guns.
So,
check this out, Joe. Look at, show him your holster, because you made one for me too. Check out this holster. Look at that, Joe. Look at that dark brown cocoa.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. You did all the stamping and everything?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that is beautiful. And there's something about leather when you make something with leather, man, just the smell. Oh,
smells great.
Like I've been working on leather. I have a saddle repair I have to do for my daughter. But every time I'm working on a leather project, my wife will walk in and say, "Oh, I forgot how good this smells." You start unrolling leather and cutting it. And oh, that is awesome. That is a beautiful looking holster.
Now this is a concealed carry. And I just made
this
inside
the waistband.
Yep. And I made this myself too. It's my own design. It's maybe not the most pretty thing, but it's for inside the waistband.
I like it. It's real smooth. I like that, and it's fitted. Did you dry that? It looks like it cups in real nice.
Yeah. So with leather's really cool. You can do something called wet forming, and you can now. Of course, you don't want your gun to get wet, but you can wrap your gun in in Saran wrap, and then you get your leather wet, and you can wrap it. And it'll form to it as it dries. It'll be exactly the shape of what you shape it in. So leather is very fun to work with like that. You can do some cool stuff with it.
Yeah, I like it. We're
doing show and tell. I want to go grab my holsters and bring them out. They're not as nice as that, though,
Joe, go ahead and do that right now, and we'll talk here on here for a second. So yeah, go ahead if you want. It's up to you, and I can switch over.
So I could show you. It's not gonna. They're not nearly as nice as Outcast, but I like working with wet leather. Just to form it. And I've done some similar holsters, although I haven't done anything inside the waistband. I have a leather one that I carry my Glock in, like if I'm out tooting around in the mountains. But just to get the little, I hate the term of it, but it was because they used to use a bone, but the boning of the leather to get the, extra striations in and just forming it around the trigger guard. There's something about it. And
I like that little click. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. And I'll put, I put it in the oven, at a very put the oven at 190 or whatever the lowest it is with the door open. And I'll put that to kind of help it dry a little bit and kind of harden. There's something about leather. My holsters are not nearly as nice as that. My little ammo carriers, that they look pretty good. I've got a couple of videos on, like I made my daughter a little survival leather thing. And it carries like a little ferro rod and a little Swiss Army knife and different things like that. That was probably like maybe 3 years ago. And anyway, it's I took her out on a little survival adventure, and we caught water off of a rock seep, and boiled it. And anyway, it's just, but working with leather, there's something I think.
Hang on a second. Look at that. Hold on, bringing that back up.
That's a leather sporran I made for my kilt.
Oh geez, wow,
that is awesome. So the leather that's on the big part, that's the bag part, the front, great. It looks really soft.
It is. It's a buffalo skin. It's an oil tanned. It's super pliable. Yeah, it's supple.
That is awesome. Yeah. So now I more so don't want you to see what I've worked on, but it's
we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it, Joe. Look at this.
Well, look at that. The leather belt sheath. That's.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
The second one down is the one I did with my daughter.
I'd rather take her out. I'll trade my ability to do leather to learn how to make a she shed for my wife. How's that?
There you go.
Oh, you can do it just one step at a time.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that leather pouch? The first
Yeah,
one?
the second one down, it's got the
Okay.
little Swiss Army knife. Again, it is so it's simple compared to what you're doing.
Yeah.
But like you can see, I'm wet forming it over this, just a little mold, and I kind of set my little the things I wanted in there. Did
Oh,
a
nice.
block of
Ferro
wood for the
rod,
ferro
yeah.
rod.
Dude, that's
And then
cool.
obviously I do all the stitching, by
Yep.
hand,
Me
but
too. Same.
but the best
Same.
part of this was just taking her out on one of our camping trips, and I think I have that at the end of this. And then we actually take it out, and I have her start a fire. Yeah, I had her splitting the wood, and it's just one of those things.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
survival straw. Nice.
Awesome.
oh yeah.
Yeah. I have those too. That's great.
So I had her. Oh yeah, it's just, and then we boiled it and made some hot cocoa, and just
Look
oh,
at that
there's my
shirt.
Awaken with JP shirt.
Oh, is that what that is?
JP
Okay.
Sears. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of his shirts. That was deep in the mix of the old COVID craziness.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Joe, I got to tell you, I mean, not only are you building a lifetime of memories with your daughter, but these are skills that she'll have for the rest of her life. Anybody that she grows up to date or marry is going to be so impressed with her abilities to do this type of stuff. So, you really are, I mean, it's a cool dad and daughter thing to do, but you're also just giving her life skills forever. It's awesome.
Well, that is our best. Oh, so we were looking at this little area. We were looking for
Sure.
I said, okay, if we were to sleep out here tonight, where would you want to lay? And so she got a bunch of pine needles, and but yeah, I think obviously my job as a parent is to set my kids up the best way, obviously to raise them as best we can, and obviously we make mistakes like anybody else, but I want to prepare her for this world as best I can, and doing these little outdoor survival stuff, and it's just fun.
I love
That's
this, Joe.
awesome.
This is great. Oh, man.
So
Look at
cool.
there you guys are. You're hiking. Tell us about this little trip you're on. Where are we at?
It's just a little area. We camp in the White Mountains of Arizona.
Okay.
It's the, I think, second largest ponderosa pine forest in the world. Some of the aspens that they have up there are the biggest in the world, which is, it's one of those things that everybody always thinks of Arizona as, desert, because you go to Phoenix, you go to Tucson,
Yeah.
and you see the lowlands, but we have a lot of mountains, and we have incredibly large forests. It's just in a part of the state that you don't always associate with, the saguaro cactus and and the snakes.
Yeah. So you're showing you're drinking water out of the puddle in this rock, a perfectly created bowl, and you're drinking out of the life straw. It's a filter, you guys. Me and Outcast, we carry these in our backpacks. These things are great. Now your daughter, she's getting a sip. Oh, I love these survival skills, man. This is great.
Yeah, and
That's
I like for my hunting pack. If I'm planning on filtering water, I have a Sawyer squeeze. That's what I use primarily. But my sister got this for us, and I thought it would just be one of those. It's more of a fun thing. Like my nephews drank water from that, and it's to kind of show them again. They're learning the process that. Oh wait, I can filter this, or as in the case with the little seep, and we started the fire. Well, we can boil water.
Yeah.
And I've done that, with my nephew once. We got some water that was a little bit, had some murkiness, but we filtered it through a cloth or like a paper towel filter. And then we boiled it. And I said, hey, we're going to drink this, buddy. And we survived the day.
Wow.
Well,
Isn't that cool?
those types of, even the gadget like the life straw, it's just a great talking point, because imagine you were raised in a household where none of these conversations took place, and you find yourself in a situation where you need water, and you don't even think about it because nobody even taught you, right? That you got to be careful what you drink, or you're going to get sick, or deathly sick in some cases. Right. So, it's another talking point. So it's a learning point that, hey, you can't just put whatever you want in your mouth. If you're out here trying to survive, you have to think this through and figure out how to filter it. So just that stuff's good. I think it's all valid.
It's another skill to have, it's another skill, whether the skill is knowledge or something by the hand. it all goes into the skill bucket. You know, when times get rough, well, you got to be rough too. You got to be able to handle these things, you guys. You know, and you know, if handle it yourself if you can first, but if not, have somebody around you that you know that can help you out. Music Lover says, to be fair, hearing about how your roads melt in the summer from the heat is wild. It doesn't make Arizona sound habitable. Yes, I know. Sounds like a nightmare, I'm telling you. But this 0 degrees for a month up here seems like a nightmare too. We live it every day, Outcast, don't we? It's crazy.
Getting used to it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Arizona's not as bad as they kind of paint it out to be. Now, granted, if you are in the Phoenix Valley, that is crazy, and you know, so if you ever, but where I'm at is a lot more palatable. So if you ever hear of a temperature in Phoenix, it's like Phoenix is 115 or 120. Well, at my house, it's probably not that it's cool, but it's probably 101. I'm at 4,000 feet elevation, and granted, for us to hit 100 at my house is you know, because we've got elevation. So obviously, the higher you go, the cooler it gets. But it's not nearly that bad. But yes, if you're in Phoenix, you can crack an egg on a sidewalk, and eventually it's gonna start cooking.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the asphalt can get soft. So if it hasn't fully cured, and you have like a big say a fire engine or a dump truck or something like that, semi, and they start driving over it, it'll create ruts. You know, and now that could probably happen pretty much anywhere uncured.
It happens
asphalt,
here, yeah.
but
It happens here.
It does get warm for sure.
You know, how far are you, Arizona? How far are you from Sedona?
So I am, well, I'm trying to think, probably
Like hours.
about 3 hours.
Okay. The reason I
Yeah.
asked
So
is,
like my daughter's elk hunt was literally the same. We were looking at it on the map, and my wife said, "Is that the same parallel? Are we on the same parallel as Sedona?" I said, "Well, not exactly. We're a little bit off."
yeah,
But Phoenix is the 33rd degree parallel, and
right
Sedona's
there.
got its own. Yeah, Sedona's got its own interesting vibe about it. It's beautiful country, like
Mhm.
unbelievable. The red rocks and different things like that. But obviously, there's it kind of got an anchor hold in some, you know, strange followings because there's something about it. I don't know
There
exactly
is.
what, but you know, Arizona, just like any state, you know, got it. We don't have serpent mounds, but we do have the Grand Canyon. You know,
Yeah.
so and we've all heard stories about that. That, you know, who knows what exactly is true, but I do know that there's areas of the Grand Canyon you're not supposed to travel to, and you'll get in trouble and get ticketed if you do,
Yeah.
which is, you know, pretty interesting considering it's public land. And you know, I can't just hike on my own, but when I'm on an elk hunt in my elk unit that is just a little bit east of that, I can hike anywhere, and nobody gets, you know, that there's no issues.
It's crazy how that works, isn't it? Now we've gotten into talks before about you know, crazy things in Sedona. Outcast, you were just in Arizona a few months back. I forgot what town you were in, but you showed
Tucson.
me you were in Tucson. We know about the Phoenix lights. We know about all the craziness there with what happened. What was it, 1997, I believe, with the Phoenix lights? Crazy, wild, wild west. Yeah. There's a lot of things. Again, Joe, you mentioned, have you ever been to Grand Canyon, just hiking around or whatever? And to go on top of that, I want everybody to ask yourself, look, if you get out there and you just start walking around Grand Canyon and you just get away from your group or your crowd or whatever, and you just keep going, and there's nothing around, right? Nothing. A black helicopter is going to show up. How does it know that you're there?
That's a good question. As far as the Grand Canyon, I've only just done the touristy thing. I have a little goal of mine to hike the Arizona Trail, which goes through through the Grand Canyon. Now, I've only hiked parts of it, but I would like to do the entire 800 at some point.
Yeah.
And likely, if I'm still doing this YouTube channel, that'll be a video series. And I have a plan to make a backpack to hike it in, but you know, that's a whole nother thing.
Awesome.
but as far as Arizona in general, so like I can't really give you a personal experience as far as the Grand Canyon, other than just doing some little day hike stuff. Not been to the full bottom or anything like that. I can tell you, my house, when we were building this house, it is incredible the amount of pottery. Like I can go on the state land right behind my house, and there's pottery everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean everywhere, to the point where you start questioning. You say, how many people really lived here before? Are we being told things as accurately as we're supposed to know? And this really goes into a lot of the stuff that I love when you guys talk about, because I think we're sold a different history um, than what is in the books, and they don't want us to know this, because there's some rocks just again on that state land behind my house, probably about a mile and a half, and there are petroglyphs up there, and it is pretty interesting. You can see some of the pictures on my Instagram. I think I have a video on it. It was around 2020, where we just go on a hike, but with my daughter. She's way younger, but we show the little petroglyphs, and one of them almost looks like a little alien looking dude, clearly like a person, but it's just, it blows my mind, because then we're sold that Tucson, they do admit that it is, I think, the oldest continually habited place in North America. Like there's always been a Native American tribe, or a Native North American tribe, whatever somebody wants to call that. There's always been a civilization here, to the point when the Spanish came and they have the San Javier mission, and they started bringing Christianity over, and obviously, the Wild West and modern, I guess, society started coming out west. But it blows my mind. And like another place that I've been on some elk hunts is up by Flagstaff, by the San Francisco Peaks, also known as the Kachina Peaks. And there's some hills around there, when I was trying to get up to a point where I could glass into the peaks, and they go up to almost 13,000 feet. And I was sitting there and I looked down, and again, pottery everywhere. I mean, just, it's to the point where, like, were people just breaking pottery everywhere? Or were there people continually inhabiting these places? And it wasn't like, a quote junk pile or a trash pile where, they broke a pot and obviously it didn't work. They just threw it on the ground. Why am I going to carry this trash, to survive? But it really leads me to think, and I can't give you guys any really intelligent, discerning, groundbreaking info as far as like I've got some inside scoop, but I can tell you, I know something more it was there than what we're told.
Oh, for sure.
Joe, humorous. If you were to go, like, what's your, like, when you're out there pondering this pottery, what is your wildest theory that comes to mind? I mean, like, what, to me, I keep thinking a cataclysmic event that was a part of a reset or something. Where does your thinking go when you look at that?
So I'm right there with you. But it's like, it's not that I really have a theory. I wonder, like, I just have that, I guess that gut feeling that there's more to this story than meets the eye. And now, granted, with all the pottery that we find, and like I said, it's not bowls that I'm finding, but we're finding, little shards. We have a box on the back of our property where we've collected pottery that we found in and around this mine land that will eventually just be full of tailings. So we're like, well, we look at it like we're kind of saving them from being covered up by 100 feet of mine truck dump. But I just think that there's so much pottery, and obviously there's places where there are quote unquote ruins of buildings in and around southern Arizona and northern Arizona. Like you'll see some of them up by Sedona, like the cliff dwellings, which some of those are pretty amazing. Now, a lot of people don't realize some of those the Park Service have kind of recreated, and they've kind of built them back up. So what you're actually seeing, like at Montezuma Castle, and I'm trying to think of the other one we went to by Flagstaff. But like if you look up Arizona cliff dwellings, ancient places like Mesa Verde Canyon in southern Colorado, you have to remember that some of there has been some liberty from archaeologists kind of reconstructing some of those things. I'm not saying all of them are. Some of them are exactly how that they were found. But most of those places are actually pretty forthcoming. Like they'll say, "Oh yeah, from here on up was a like I think the Mesa Verde. I don't think any of that was reconstructed. But if you look at like Montezuma's Castle in Arizona, and there's one that's called Wupatki. And the Wupatki one, they said that the walls were, they could just see where the foundations were, and all the rock had been kind of like I don't know, earthquake or somebody came and just spread it around, and so those were kind of recreated.
Did you say Montezuma Castle? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Montezuma Castle. It's
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so it's the same thing. So you can see it up there, and the first thing that I thought when
Wow.
we went there, I was thinking Nephilim. How
Yeah,
are
for
you gonna
sure.
defend against the Nephilim?
Mm. A reoccurring thought I keep having, like when you talk about the pottery, just for the fun of it, I know we're kind of off topic, Jesse. I'm sorry, but I like to do that. I like to get off topic. But
Off
You
topic
can
is
blame
topic.
me. I started bringing it up.
yeah, but you watch, let's say for example, here I'm going to give you 3 examples off the top of my head. You watch Planet of the Apes from 1970, whatever it was when it came out, and you're essentially looking at a current civilization built on top of the ancient remnants of a previous greater civilization. I think that's a clue from Hollywood. Then you watch, Road Warrior, Mad Max, and you've got a reset after a cataclysmic event destroys the earth. There's a remnant society that's built on top of the ashes of the old, right? Or let's go, you watch Terminator, and in the opening scenes where they're showing you talking about how the what's his name comes from the past to kill John Connor. They show the future, and it shows all these skulls everywhere as machines are driving over the skulls, right? Well,
Yep.
you're essentially walking over pottery, right? So
Yeah.
I think these movies are kind of giving us a clue that there's been multiple resets, and then if you look at the gap theory, which says, the Bible says the earth was the earth was null and void in Genesis before God created it, but in some translations it says the earth was made null and void, and the gap theory says that there was a whole pre-civilization that was wiped out in a kinetic war of some sort, probably the rebellion of the angelics against the fallen angels against God, and then Genesis is the reset. That's where this story starts.
Yeah.
That's the gap theory. I mean, when you look at pottery like that spewing everywhere, it's like, what are they're making pots and just chucking them in the desert? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't.
There was a
I-
lot more people and a lot more travel and movement than we realize. But like I said, you see some of these cliff dwellings and foundations, but then again, then you can go into the whole the theories of the mud flood and some of these resets, and is just a lot of this stuff covered up. And then what
Yeah.
we're finding so easily, like all these shards of pottery that we find, are those just from maybe there was people still surviving, but the structures didn't survive. And, obviously like an earthquake can happen, topple a bunch of buildings in Pakistan. Well, there's still 1 million people there, so the people just kept on surviving, but they didn't have, maybe the foundations that everyone's trying to tie, say, this pottery to, say, like you're looking at the Montezuma Castle, that they're trying to tie it to exact foundations of, this is from this period. They clearly were living in, these type of dwellings, and we found pottery up there. So we're going to tie this to this. And I mean, I think a lot of it is, from the archaeology perspective, to be fair, I think a lot of those people want to do a good job, but you can only do as far as you're willing to question and as far as what you were educated to believe, and so that's why I think there's so many people like us who are asking these questions, thinking, is this really what happened? And then you can go back to, the maps with Tartaria and all these, the myths of Atlantis and different things like that. Now, none of that rocks my Christian foundations that I believe in the Lord. But it just makes me ask, Well, if we were
Hidden
created,
history.
if all this stuff happens, you know, it, it's really not that strange to think that there could have been another civilization. You know, you can get into like some of those, and obviously this is a lot of social media is you know, probably a lot of it's deception, but some of it does ask questions, you know, like Devil's Tower in Wyoming and some of those places, and some people have
Tree.
these hypotheses. Yeah, I think I saw it in you guys' show once, you know, that were these trees being cut down, you know,
Yep.
or divots in the ground, you know, were these the angels that were cast out of heaven? And you know, you think they weren't cast out with a you know, oh here, you know, I'll set you down on the ground. It would have been violent.
Yeah.
And was the casting of the fallen ones, was it so violent that it created so much damage that, you know, caused, you know, these you know, what we see in ice core samples is like volcanic eruptions or whatever. I mean, was it that level of violence that it mimicked, like, you know, what some people believe, oh okay, well this was a meteor crater, and the meteor hit so hard that it caused a, you know, winter from the cloud that from the ash that came up or whatever.
Yep.
There's just so many questions, and obviously I'm not intelligent enough to have it all figured out, but I do know one thing is nobody knows, or I haven't heard the answer yet.
Well, you know, you're smarter than you give yourself credit for, first of all. But I want to say that in the Enochian translation, or in the Enochian, you know, theory, it says that there were 200 fallen angels. Okay. Ironically, there are about 198 known giant craters around the Earth
Yeah.
that they know of.
Wonder why that's so close of a number.
Right.
Yeah, and then to think they all landed on land, well, maybe some landed in the water.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
they
yeah.
created tidal waves that created a mud flood of sorts, you know,
Yeah.
for
And as
coastal
far
areas.
and as far as I know, there's no meteor at the bottom of any of those craters. There's
No.
nothing there. There's no substance there that shows what it impacted.
Just
So
the
that's
wreckage.
curious.
Yeah.
Just the remnants of the impact, but no, you can't see what did it.
Yeah. Good thinking, Outcast. I like that. That's really good. Wenjo over here on YouTube says, I've often wondered if they didn't build these shelters in the sides of the mountains to keep the giants out.
It's a good theory.
That's a really good thought, because look, the entrances and the windows are about the same size that we would use. They're not gigantic ports. They're about the size that a human today would use, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. That's good.
So if you're going to get in there and protect yourself, you only have one way to protect yourself, unless, of course, there's caves behind you and tunnels behind you from the backside. But you could easily protect that too. If with enough people, you don't have to protect up and sides and everything, just front and back. Some cases, just front.
Yeah. Just like
Wow.
the castles, you know, if you can defend from higher ground, you're always that's to your advantage.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is
You
so
know, and then
amazing, man. I love this. I love this kind of mysterious stuff like this.
Oh, it's crazy. Just in a lot of these places, and this is just me just talking as like any other person who's seen one of these History Channel things or some documentary on, you know, where they have little footsteps carved in the rock, or you know, essentially little steps or places where a human, you know, a man-sized person can climb up them. But
Wow.
if your feet are, you know, if you're 15 feet tall, you know, maybe your 6 toes don't fit in those little holes, or
Right.
or whatever, you know.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, like this right here, I'm looking at that carving or whatever this town, city, village is carved into the side of the mountain. You can see all the people up there on the right, like the tour guide group, right? They're standing right there, and all the elements that they're going to go through is made for a human-sized person, right? So if this was going to be your fortress against these evil Nephilim giants that were trying to come and get you, what better fortress would there be to protect yourself? This would be great.
Oh yeah,
This would be a
if I
great
was presented
fortress.
with that with that same you know, circumstance, I think I would be looking up in cliffs and saying, well, it's kind of scary up there, but it's also scary down here on the floor.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
rabbits are going to hide from foxes underneath all these brush piles that I put in, because the fox can't get in there, but the rabbit can. Same concept.
Jesse, you got me thinking that they chose these locations because those caves go deeper in than people are aware of.
Yes.
That's a whole tunnel system behind
They
there.
way in there. Yeah, for sure. They'll connect to other systems and everything. Joe, that's why I was asking you earlier, because my wife was in Sedona months ago, within a year ago, right? And I kept telling her, I said, well, she was with her girlfriend's group or whatever they do. You know how them chicks do. But anyway, they went there, and when they got to they said they're going to go to the tour, the tunnels. So I got online and I said, okay, you're going to ask the guy all these questions, right? And he's going to, hopefully he doesn't get annoyed with you, with my line of questions that you're going to ask for me. Anyway, so she played along, and they asked the tour guide some things, and they were in Sedona. They went there's a tour, I forgot the name of it, that you can go in, guided tour. He takes you down there, and but he can't go too far, but he does show you over one of the spots, and it goes down. You can't see where it goes. It's a tunnel. Somebody dug it, but it goes down in the darkness. You can't see, and they throw rocks and stuff down in there, but you cannot see or hear where it goes. It's so deep. She said it was one of the scariest things. But then if you look across there, there's another tunnel that keeps going, but that's off limits. Okay, so I asked her, I said, all right, listen, you have to ask him about the red-haired giants and see what he tells you. Now, Outcast, we know about the red-haired giants. They're not there. They're over in
the Lovelock Caves.
The Lovelock Caves, yep, which are not the same Nevada. System in Nevada. So I think there's rumor that they might connect underneath somewhere. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I asked her to ask the normie tour guide. And he's like, nobody ever asked me that. But there is lore, and those giants are not here. The red-headed giants are in Nevada. So he actually knew about it, but he said nobody knows it. Nobody asks him about it. So I got kind of happy and excited about that, because I also wanted to tell my wife, hey, these things are real. They're biblical and all that. And, oh yeah, whatever. They're in movies and all that stuff. But when she hears it from other guys, that ask the same questions, or we get in a conversation, you know how it goes. It just helps reinforce what we want to tell our wives, right?
It's called it's that biblical thing. A prophet has no honor in his own country. When Jesus was speaking, well, we grew up with this guy. He's just the carpenter's son. I'm not going to listen to this guy.
Yeah, right.
But then, he comes out into, all the other areas he went. Well, they took him more seriously, because it wasn't like, oh, that's the son of the garbage truck driver. I'm not gonna. Yeah. What's he got to tell me?
Right.
And same way. Our wives love us, but sometimes. They've heard a mouthful from us. And although I will say my wife is the last 5-6 years has really opened our eyes to a lot of stuff. And while we may not believe everything, we're certainly willing to question it. Yeah. And I think that was I think most people with a reasonable, I guess, ability to judge things and discern things, it kind of came to the point that, wait a minute, why can't I ask a question about something? And obviously, the biggest, you can't question any official narrative of anything now, because then you're a, quote unquote conspiracy theorist. But I think if you're a thinking person, you start to say, well, why can't I question it? Didn't Isaac Newton question gravity? Is it, why? And I'm not even saying that he's the guy who came up with all that. Yeah. Theory of relativity, the theory of gravity, and they're theories for a reason. And until disproven, okay, I get what you're saying. I can understand that, electricity with the kite and the key, which who knows if that's even real, but a discerning person is not afraid to question. And I think that's actually where a lot of folks like us over the past several years have kind of breaking out of that mold of, oh, wait, you believe that? And, 10 years ago, most people would have said, oh, no, well, not really. I'm not. And now I'm like, well, I don't think we landed on the moon, but 10 years ago, I would have been like, I would have been like, well, I would have been thinking it in my head, because I've been questioning a lot of these things for a while, but now I'm like, I really don't care what you call me. I've been called a racist, a bigot, everything over the past several years, an anti this, an anti that, And now I'm like, well, you can't call me any worse than I've, you know, I guess, I don't know. You can only
Yeah,
call me
I
so many
understand.
names before they just shed off my shoulders and I really don't care.
Love it.
And about the questioning things too, a secure thought process is not afraid to be questioned. Right.
Right.
So these systems do not want there's nope. You can't ask. Nope. This is settled science. We figured, I don't know Joe, if you heard the story from months ago when I was in Arizona, I sat next to a guy on a plane who was a staunch evolutionist. Right. And we got into it pretty good. And I mean, he was flabbergasted because he's not used to anybody questioning him. He's just like, well, this is what I was taught in school. And this is what all my collegiate buddies think. And we're in a club where we all agree with how we think, but don't you question it. This is all settled. Okay. Well, if it's settled, you won't mind some friendly questions. When they get agitated, they don't want to hear that because
Well, because
I don't think
it
it
kind
can.
of erodes their foundations.
Yeah.
It can't hold up to scrutiny is the problem. Yep.
And then you start thinking, well, wait a minute. If some of this stuff isn't true, then you're thinking, you know what? Just to kind of build upon your thing, I think that was the guy that was reading a book, and he was very proud
Yes.
to
Yes.
that you were reading a book, or his wife likes to read Kindles or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that story, and but it's I think the thing is to question something to somebody who isn't willing to question it. They feel threatened because it's questioning their intelligence. Because if we are right and things aren't as exactly as they're told, and I'm not saying everything is like that, some things, okay, I can see this being true, but when you question it, nobody wants to be the one to say, oh my God, my entire life I've been bamboozled. Just like the whole, the thing with the pokey thing that goes there, well, I've got a lot of them. I tell you, the last 10 years I haven't. But it's because people don't want to, if they are willing to accept that, then they're willing to accept the fact that, oh shoot, I got the wool pulled over my eyes. And
Yeah.
a lot of people would just rather live in ignorant, what is it? Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
And very intelligent people. And there's a lot of people who identify and they want people to see them as intelligent, and for them to admit certain things is, it would be the akin to them putting on the scarlet letter themselves, so, and so I can see that, because nobody wants to be, we all want to think that we're reasonably intelligent and that we can't be bamboozled. Well, shoot, I used to think we did land on the moon, so I was bamboozled, but I guess I'm just at a point in my life that I can admit when I'm wrong. And and I think that's the difference. And I think a lot more people are coming around to that kind of thing than maybe they were 5 or 10 years ago.
I agree. And, but I think with people like us, I think we find it liberating to admit when we're wrong. Like when all the things I've been lied to about that I now see it in a different light, I find that invigorating. And I love to tell a self-effacing story about how I was duped and how I woke up. They have this, and I don't mean to, lump them into a they, but they seem to have this thing where they can't really get there. I think it might be a pride issue. I really do, that they think, oh, you're insinuating that I've been tricked, or I wasn't going into you. I'm just saying we all have been, but they can't get past that. I think they're protecting themselves inside their head and also in their image as well. There's something going on there, because personally, when I'm wrong about something, I love to say I'm wrong. I go, man, because then I have a new testimony about how I learned how I was wrong. Right. I find
it's actually it's a better argument to say, hey, look, I was there with you. I thought a plane actually knocked down building 7.
Yep.
Keep in mind, I never thought that, but there was a time that I accepted that whole narrative, just like, oh yeah, I guess that guy got lucky and did a corkscrew down and hit the Pentagon, but it's just that, and I think your point is so well taken, because it is the best way to approach somebody is when you start out in humility, like, hey, look, man, I'm not perfect, but this is kind of the way I'm seeing things, and I used to think it was that way too. And obviously, if the person's not, that guy who was reading the book, you could have the, a 200 level IQ and come up with the best arguments. If that guy's not willing to listen, uh, he'll only listen when he's ready to. And obviously we've all been there, that there's a point that, you're willing to be humble and say, oh, maybe I don't know everything. And I actually think it's harder for some of the very, I have some people in my family who, they don't want to talk about certain things, and they're very intelligent people, like, more intelligent than me, take an IQ test. They're probably score higher than me. But there's certain issues, especially in the last few years, that they don't even want to talk about. And I don't, I would rather have a good relationship than, you questioning that now. But it's because that's such a part of their identity, is that they are intelligent. And I know I was probably at that, point, in my life where, like, I'm not wrong. How can I be wrong? I got a college degree, it's like, well, some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life, I met in college.
Yep.
And if I could go back, I would,
Yeah.
I would never have gone to college if I could do it over again, unless I was going to be a doctor, lawyer, architect, something like that, where the certificate actually still has some amount of credibility of something you have to, rubber stamp to make it through the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good way to think,
I didn't go to college, and I used to be, you can ask my wife, I used to be terribly insecure about it. And then over the years, I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't go to college. But I was younger. I was like, I wonder if I should have went to college. Is it too late to go back? And then I'm thinking now, I'm like, nope, I'm glad I didn't bother.
Yeah. I'm glad that, go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, I oftentimes will say, like, to the guys around the station, I'm like, man, if I had a business and I was going to hire somebody, I would try to judge the person's character, but if I saw a college degree in the last few years, I would almost be like, ooh, I don't even know if I want to consider this person, because obviously they had to, who knows, maybe they don't even know what bathroom to go in. I don't know. But like I said, I would try to judge the person individually, because obviously, I've got family memory. One of my nephews is he's got a great head on his shoulder. Well, he's going to college right now, and he knows which bathroom is which. He's got a very good, strong head on his shoulders. But so that's why I said I wouldn't totally just whitewash everybody, just assuming that they're going to be brainwashed. But but there is those things that cause you to wonder.
You're cracking me up, because it's like thinking that would be, if I was a boss, that'd be the perfect interview question. What bathroom do you go into? It's not a trick question. Which one do you got? And if they struggle, you just throw that resume away. You're all done.
Yeah. Why are you hesitating? That's a pretty simple question, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. I trust that there's still good people, and I know there are, coming up through the college ranks. But again, that's where most of that heavy indoctrination comes from. Where do you think all the crazy comes from? It's from the colleges and school and education, and it filters out.
Yeah.
Once it goes through there, it's the washing machine of the brain. The kid, you put the kid in there, and it happens to all of us. To some level, we've been brainwashed into something, whether it was, even the smallest things. What's the first thing that we learn when we get into like kindergarten or something, right? They throw a globe in front of us. Say, you live right here. There you go. It's like, okay. No, you never question that, right? You never question it until you throw your globe in the garbage can, a few years later, and say, this is crazy. It's Looney Tunes. So, it gets nuts, but I do like the whole waking up process that people go through. And again, I used to try to wake people up all the time, and now I'll just let Outcast do it, or I'll just let the show do it. And if it reaches them, good to go. If not, hey, I'm going fishing, or I got stuff to work on. If you want to listen and you want to talk, come on, I'm here. But, I just want to stay on mission and stay on point. And, hearing from people like you out there, Joe, that are in the like-minded is what I'm saying, like-minded men and women that are, can see similar to what we can see, and I don't want to put ourselves in an echo chamber, and I know we're not, because we're around the crazy all day, every day too. So, it's just, it's wild. Music Lover says, I spent ages poring over the pages of the atlases in classroom. Yeah. And we learn these things like the first thing we learned were these kinds of things. Your globe and your atlas, and here's why it's like in an orange peel. This is why it looks like an orange peel. And then, you know, the Sputnik and all this stuff that went up into space, and it's like, okay, why was that the first stuff that we were taught?
So I'll kind of build upon that. Oh, were you about to say something, Outcast?
No, you go ahead, Joe.
Okay, well, so I was going to build on that whole education thing and kind of questioning. So I don't know if I told you guys, we homeschool our daughter,
Awesome.
and we started doing that. It's funny because we were one of those families that took us a lot to, you know, we wanted to have everything ready when we decided to start having kids, and you know, lo and
Yeah.
behold, it was very difficult for us, almost to where we were considering adoption, and praise the Lord, we were able to conceive eventually after, you know, a good amount of money and a lot of prayer. Um, but so early on, I was actually the one who was kind of saying, this is before all the craziness the last several years, you know, I would tell my wife, and I'm like, you know, I wonder if we should homeschool, you know, and, you know, cause obviously I went to public school, and we had a couple of homeschool kids that ran track, and they were nice, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
there was like, well, you know, kind of a little bit introverted. I look back on them and I think very differently than I did at the time. And I liked them. I wasn't mean or anything. But it was, there was that
There
heavy
was a
stigma of like,
stigma.
why would you
Yeah.
homeschool? You know, we came out fine. And my wife was actually kind of, it's like, I don't know if I can do that. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. Well, then we finally get pregnant, and, I say we get pregnant. She did the hard part. I did the way
You
easier
did
part,
all the fun,
as we
Joe.
all know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so we have our daughter, and I don't know if it's the motherly instinct, but the minute, so my wife decided she quit her job after, you know, doing the paying back her time of taking the maternity leave. And then I was actually more like, well, we could probably do public school. You know, we have some teachers in our family, and they're good people, and but there was something in the back of our mind. Well, my wife, to her credit, she had the wisdom that there was something. I think when our daughter was like 2 or 3, she started thinking about the homeschool thing, even though I was kind of like, well, I'm maybe not, I don't know. Well, then we ended up doing a preschool program, and that solidified just where she would go in there one day a week, because we wanted her to experience like having to be away from mom and dad.
Mm,
Um, and that was horrible.
it
Just to
was.
drop her off there, and the teachers, that I didn't have any inclination that they were bad people or anything like that. But my wife, just through the mothering process, she got the conviction really, really strongly that we should homeschool.
Yep.
And I don't know if that was the Holy Spirit leading us up for, because obviously uh, we saw the past several years differently than parents who had to send their kid or chose to send their kid to a school where they're enforcing masks and God knows what else. Granted, Arizona was definitely on the better side of things, but we still had our share of crazies. And I guess I can talk about it now. We were a member of a pretty large homeschool group, and we would have meetings of 70 to 100 people, like a homeschool day. And there was kids up to high school, down to like 8, 9 years old. And there was a couple of families that they felt comfortable wearing masks, and nobody judged them.
Mm.
But somehow we had 60, 70 kids running around at somebody's house, doing what kids do, playing, and everybody ended up fine.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because so that, bring it back to when I was in high school and I saw those homeschool kids, the kids I've spoken to in this, and we kind of are casual members of this group, so we don't meet regularly every single week or anything now, but early on we did. And the kids that I spoke to, I mean, they're like 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds. Mr. Joe, can you tell me about this? They can speak to an adult. They can, and granted, there's some that are, kids are kids, and there's introverts and extroverts, and but it blew my mind because I had these preconceived notions of what homeschoolers are like, but yet our kids were getting more socialization in those first couple of years of the craziness than any of these public school kids that
Yeah.
were, in
You're
plastic or
isolated.
masks. Yeah. So it was just, I think I lost the original moral of the story when we were talking about it. But it just made me think about our decision to homeschool and, oh yes, about history. So we're talking about what do we know is, and I think we're all humble enough to say, man, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I think there was something else, but I don't exactly know. So our approach to homeschool is for math and like, the kind of hard sciences like biology and different things like that. We have some curriculum workbooks that she goes through and videos and different things like that. And then we teach history, but we choose to teach both sides, but we approach it from the aspect of, okay, so this is the official story of what everybody is told. This is what mom and dad were taught when we were in school. And it could very well be true. But here's a video that, we're going to watch. And we also think this could be playing a part in history. And maybe some of that isn't 100% accurate, but we teach both sides so that when she goes out in the real world, that she understands what everyone's told. She understands, oh, the Statue of Liberty was a gift from France, and it's not a depiction of Lucifer. That it's a good gift. But she also understands, well, there could be more meaning to it, or just like, we taught her about the founding fathers, and on the surface, I think they were some good men that they believed in the Lord, but there's a lot of them who are a member of these secret societies. And I don't know if their God is exactly the same as our God. I want to believe most of them believed in Jesus. But there's enough things like, you look at the Washington Monument and his Freemasonry connections, and you look at the inches on the base of the Washington Monument are 666 inches on each side. It's 555 feet tall, 111 feet down as a base. Well, add all those up. And so we'll teach both sides of those things because we want her to be, aware of what is taught, so that she can converse in the world. But she also, I think she's way smarter than her mom and I. She got quite a brain on her. But one aside fact, this is my conspiracy I'm going to present to you guys. You know how we're on the metric system, or we're not on the metric system?
Imperial, yeah.
Yeah. So I told you, like, I live so far south, we're close to Mexico, that they installed kilometers for the miles signs, just because I'm within the 50 kilometer or 60 kilometer range, which I think is kind of interesting. And I agree. I think the metric system makes sense, but I wonder if there is some, a reason that we have stayed on the imperial system for the fact that, like, what I mentioned about the Washington Monument, the 666 inches, is because there's power in those numbers. And if they just made it like, I don't even know. I know it's 2.54 centimeters per inch, but, so whatever, 1,500 centimeters by 1,500 centimeters. Well, there's no power in that. So I wonder, and this is not intelligently thought out or anything. I wonder if there's certain things that have to do with the miles and the feet that they need it to still represent those things, like the Georgia Guidestones, I guess, were 666 miles from the UN headquarters. Now that could be false. I don't know. I do know that the Washington Monument, you can look that up and verify it 6 ways to Sunday. That's all true. But we've taught her those things. And, we've, gone over, like, we work in inches, we work in miles, and, I feel comfortable doing that. All my tape measures are that, but anyway, it's just an interesting aside from our homeschool perspective of, preparing her with all of the regular stuff, but getting her to ask questions too.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, I got a question for you. Well, here's something from Music Lover on YouTube. She says we could always agree to go back to cubits and spans. Yeah, that's some biblical stuff right there. But think about this.
A cubit is this?
Yeah, supposed to be
elbow to the tip of the finger.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be. That's what the cubit's supposed to be. Hey, thinking about the metric, think about your metric sockets, right? You dig inside your metric sockets, and you're going to go work on something. What size ratchet are you going to put that metric socket on?
Oh, quarter inch, eighth, half inch.
That's it. You're not putting it on a metric size ratchet.
Yeah, that's I never thought about that. that's that's interesting. And it's crazy. And all that stuff I said, that I have no idea. I'm
Yeah,
just
and it makes that all of this stuff is my question too, Outcast. I mean, I go through these things like, what does a mile mean and what does a foot mean? Obviously, we know what today's terms. Well, did it mean something way, way back long? I don't know. Go ahead, Outcast.
No, Joe, I love the way that you're teaching your daughter, because I think you're doing it exactly right. You're telling her what the mainstream thinks, so she knows what the rest of the world is thinking, but you're also instilling in her critical thinking skills to say, but we can also consider this. And then you're ultimately asking her to ask her gut what her gut's telling her, right? Because you're giving her choices on how to look at things. And so she knows what the world thinks. Then she knows what the contrarian or the opposite viewpoint is, and then she can go, but what does my gut say? Well,
Yep.
she's going to find truth that way. It's the same kind of truth that your wife found when she decided she wanted to homeschool. She started listening to her gut, intuition, right? And you're teaching your daughter that. It's just amazing. I think that you guys just seem like the coolest people. If I wish you were my neighbors, I'd hang out with you all the time. And I think that your kids are. Do you have more than one kid, Joe?
just one.
Okay, I think
We tried 3 times and we got one out of it. So that's
okay.
that's what we were blessed with.
Your daughter is blessed to have you guys as parents. You guys are doing amazing things. I mean, just everything you're teaching her is so much more important than the gobbledygook they're getting from schools right now. So, man, God bless you. I just think that you guys sound like great people. And
Yeah.
you keep saying we're not the smartest people. Wisdom and book smarts are two different things. And God has given you deep wisdom. I mean, look at how you run your family, how you build things, and you're fearless. That's what you want. You want the wisdom. You don't need a piece of paper to say you're smart, where you're getting rewarded for regurgitating information that they gave you. You guys are finding it out on your own and asking questions and saying. And it's funny because I've gotten good at that in my house. When I was younger, I used to try to tell my wife, like, give her an answer for everything when she had a question. Like I was the smartest guy in the room. And now I just go, honestly, I don't know, but this is what I'm thinking. And that's how I talk to my wife now. I don't sit there and go, well, blah, 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 blah. I don't, I could go full Cliff Clavin on her like I did when I was younger, but but I don't. I just
Well,
go,
I've been there too. So it's this is all a growth process, and I've learned a lot from my parents, but also my father-in-law is an the guy is probably a genius that's never been tested, but that guy is so humble. And if you took me 15, 20 years ago, I bet you I thought way higher of myself than I do now, and and obviously we grow and we realize, like, I guess living life, if you're a discerning person, is going to make you humble, saying, well, I was pretty wrong on that one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
but yeah, like I said, I'm the same. I was probably, well, let me tell you how it's done, and now I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know is the best thing you can say.
Amen.
Yeah, because it always goes right back to your gut. Trust your gut always. You know what I mean? If you don't know, just wait. Give it a little bit of time. Just like all these stories, I try to tell people to flush these out. Let it sit. Let it marinate for a while. The truth will come out eventually. Don't jump on it right now, because then you're a bandwagon jumper and you're chasing a cat, or you're chasing the laser like a cat. Don't do that. You know, trust the gut. Listen, Joe. Go ahead, Outcast.
I was gonna say you're chasing Bad Bunny with the laser.
Right. Listen, Joe, we've come to the end of this episode is what I'm saying, but I think there's more here. Still, Outcast. It's almost like it's like we just started. See that file cabinet back there behind him? Look at that. The Dewey System, whatever that is. Remember those back in elementary school?
Oh, yeah.
Before Joe has to head out.
Joe, I don't, man, I say this to a lot of our guests, but it's from the heart. It's just not lip service. It really isn't. I can tell that you're one of us and you are family to us at this point. So I'm honored and humbled to think that you listen to our show. You seem like an amazing guy on a personal level, but as well as your knowledge base. It's an honor to get to know you tonight. It's been awesome. And we look forward to having you on again sometime. And I hope that you consider us family like we do you.
Well, I would have to just reiterate that, and honestly, it was an honor to be on the podcast. Like I said, I told I think Jesse before you got on, two of my top listened to podcasts is yours, and quite frankly, and
That's awesome.
and I like them because obviously you guys are different podcasts, and there's other, like I listen to Dr. Sean, and I mean I probably have 200 different podcasts in my phone that I will dabble through depending on current events, or I mean there's podcasts on cooking and just different things, like I want to learn about this, not always, but I like the podcasts that you guys have that I think with him I termed it broadly interesting. So it's not that we're just down this one rabbit hole and we're always talking about how to add muffler systems to our cars, or it's all just on alien conspiracies or this. But I mean, there's faith, there's living your life. I mean, obviously the conspiracies is very cozy, and I think we all those of us who like to question is just let's get into it. I want to learn something, or at least question something. But anyway, now I feel bad that I probably talked you guys' ears off. But it was an honor for me to be on this because I enjoy listening to you guys. I see wisdom. The first time I listened to you guys, I think it was like during the craziness of, the insanity that went on in 2020 and 2021. And I was like, these guys get it. These are my people. So I echo those sentiments, and I thank you guys for having me on.
Awesome, Joe.
God bless you, brother.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That I don't know how I ended up knowing, or not knowing, but understanding that you were following us. There was something, your name kept coming up in, I don't know if it was comments or something. I was like, what is this home aesthetics is what I was calling it. I said, what? I keep seeing this name in comments. So I went and saw that it was, Homesteadonomics, but I appreciate you. And, I saw you commenting on a lot of stuff, and I was like, man, I got to see who this guy is. Then when I found you on the YouTube, I was like, oh, he's got to come on the show. So, it was awesome, Joe. What, plug your channel or whatever you have going on right now. Where do you want people to come and see you at?
Well, I used to have a website for a while, and I just realized that it was just easier so basically I just post videos on YouTube and Rumble. They're mirrored, and unfortunately I've been at quite a bit of a drought the last couple of last 2 or 3 months. But anyway, I'll be posting again very soon because I'll probably plug this show, and YouTube, Rumble, and obviously like Instagram, X, those you'll see me. X is like where I just repost stuff about stuff. We know. Like in my videos where I'm building a travel trailer or a truck camper, I'm not really commenting directly on issues of the day, but like I said, most people understand where I stood on things, awesome. Even though I might not have directly addressed it. But yeah, just anywhere there. But I appreciate it.
All right, awesome, you guys. Go check them out. Homesteadonomics, pretty much anywhere on the interwebs is what I'm saying. So go check out Joe, find him, and give him a follow. And Joe, if you want this raw video of tonight, I'll send it to you, and you can upload it any way you want. But it was great to have you.
Go ahead and send it.
And we'll stay in contact, and we'll do whatever we got to do to get you back on. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Good night, brother. Stay dangerous as always. All right. Good night. Guys. Pretty good, Outcast. Man, that was awesome.
Oh, what a great guy. I love him.
Yeah,
he's awesome. He's the real deal. I dig it. That's cool.
Music Lover says, I hope you can swing by and hang with us in the chat live sometime. Yes, if you're still there, Joe.